Hey, it's me, Asher, and I'm back with another video about Nikola Jokic. Shocking, I know. Anyways, so lately there's been a lot of national media, namely ESPN and Brian Windhorst and Rachel Nichols, who have talked about Nikola Jokic as if he was not the clear frontrunner for the MVP, and they are both pushing for Joel Embiid to be, neck and neck with Jokic. And that's just not accurate at all. Now, Embiid is averaging great stats 30, 11, and 3 on 64.2% true shooting, but he's also missed 18% or 18 games, which is 25% of the season, if he doesn't miss a single game for the rest of the season, which is unlikely to happen due to rest. I hope he doesn't get injured or anything, but that it might be a thing with Embiid. But Jokic has not missed a single game, and that is why when Embiid first got injured, they were neck and neck, and that's why is the clear runaway favorite now. In that recent Tim Bontemps poll for ESPN about MVP, that's why Nikola Jokic got 90 first place votes, and in second place was Embiid with 5. I'm pretty sure Jokic had more than double the next place in votes in that entire poll, and Jokic has also been first in the MVP ladder on NBA.com for weeks upon weeks, and is just overall considered the MVP favorite for great reason. It's because availability and ability are both very important, and Jokic checks off both boxes. Joel Embiid has the ability, but not the availability. Now, if I'm going to break down their arguments, they're arguing, well, you can't really count, or you shouldn't really count injuries as much as, people do, but defense should matter more than it does. Now, people who make the argument that Nikola Jokic doesn't play defense just simply don't watch basketball. They are just not that smart about things a lot of the time. At least as far as eye test goes, they're like, oh, Jokic is not a rim protector, therefore not good. When that's not the role he plays on the Nuggets defense. He is a guy who plays a lot of passing lanes. People I've talked to in the locker room have talked about him as a drop big. When he blitzes, he's not a drop big. He doesn't play drop coverage. And some stats that were brought up by Matt Moore, who is a great follow on defense on Twitter, which is at HP Basketball. So he goes through a few points. One is that Jokic does not look like a good defender, which is true. He looks like the typical slow-footed defender or whatever, all that kind of stuff. But a lot of the eye test, if you watch the Nuggets play, matches the stats, which say Jokic is a good defender. He's top 10 in defensive box plus minus and defensive win shares, which I'm pretty sure he might be top 5 in defensive box plus minus. And also in pick and rolls, including the pass, Jokic defending as the ball handler, Denver has allowed 0.79 points per possession to the ball handler, which is 79th percentile. And that shows that he's good at forcing the ball out of their hands. He's good at trapping and all that kind of stuff. And he gets a lot of deflections and steals. He's top 10 in steals per game right now. And for a lot of the season, he was tied for second, I believe. And he does not anchor a defense. He's not a Rudy Gobert defensively, but he's average to above average depending on the night. And Joel Embiid is a elite defender, but Jokic is not a terrible defender as they're making him out to be. And like Rachel Nichols, for example, said, there are two sides of the floor, and if you just don't play on one, you're not the MVP. But Jokic does play pretty decent defense a lot of the time. And it can even get up to pretty good. But also, Jokic's playmaking is far more impactful, I think, than Embiid's defense, because Embiid has another defensive player of the year caliber player in Ben Simmons on his team, And Jokic's passing is the foundation of a top 5 offense. I believe it's top 3 now. And the Nuggets aren't even a bad defensive team. They are 13th in the league. And since they've gotten Aaron Gordon, that's gone up to 11th since that time, not overall. But it's just funny how ignorant some people can be to, the Nuggets, to Jokic, just because he's not a super bragging, out there superstar, which there's nothing wrong with Embiid saying he deserves MVP. He's had a great season. He would be maybe my runner-up. He was my MVP pick for a lot of the season, but obviously injuries changed that, and I think also Jokic has just been better. I value Jokic's playmaking more than Embiid's defense, and even then, Jokic is not a bad defender, as many make him out to be. He is first in value of a replacement player. He is 5th in defensive box plus minus. He is first in offensive box plus minus. He's first in box plus minus. And just overall, it's funny to see the ignorance of the national media to Nikola Jokic, who should and probably will win MVP, barring an injury, barring a steep decline for whatever reason. He is going to win MVP, which I called before the season started, and I am proud of that pick. I think that Nikola Jokic can still make noise in the playoffs with the Nuggets. I think if they match up against the Blazers, the Mavericks, any of those teams that are not the Lakers, that they win that series. And overall, I just think that, Jokic is the MVP. I don't really see any argument against that right now. So, yeah.